Hey everyone, Daniel and Eric here at Star Wars Celebration 2015, and you've checked out some more animation.
Yeah, I just came out from the panel for Droid Tales, which is going to be a new, not quite ongoing, but a series of specials that are the Lego version of the Star Wars movies so far, the 6 films.
Okay, and this is all told from the perspective of R2 and C-3PO, is that right?
Right, it's there's a framing device, which is basically they're in the Ewok village and they just won, and 3PO starts to tell them the story of everything that happened through the past 30 years, going back to Episode 1.
So obviously there's a lot of Star Wars, there's 6 films.
Yeah.
How does that compress and get spread across 5 episodes, 5 specials?
Right, that was the interesting thing. They said there'll be 5 specials, and it was actually a little kid, to his credit, who got up and said, "There's 6 movies. How are they doing in 5 episodes?"
Smart kid.
Right. And they actually explained it. They had to get the okay from someone from Lucasfilm in the audience. But it's interesting. It's the first episode is Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones. The second episode is Revenge of the Sith, but also some of the Clone Wars. And then the third episode is going to be A New Hope and some of Rebels. And then Empire and Jedi get their own full episodes.
So it feels like they're kind of truncating the prequels a little bit, so compressing them and letting the kind of later films breathe a little bit more.
Yeah, I'd agree. And then it's interesting how, the 2 sort of canon animated series, the Clone Wars and Rebels, are also kind of letting bleed in there because a lot of kids are going to be very familiar with those characters.
So it feels like they're trying to bring kids who are new to Star Wars really bang up to speed before The Force Awakens.
I think you're exactly right. In fact, they even said they were talking about doing new specials and they weren't sure it was going to be an original story. And then once they knew Episode 7 was coming, they're like, actually, instead, let's do this. Let's retell the story of the 6 movies because it'll be a good lead-in, and I think everyone wanted that to be on board
It makes sense to
with
spend a bit more time with those later characters.
Right.
Now, so this is about kids. We talked about kids. This is Star Wars Lego. But how's it pitched tonally? Is it stuff for adults in there, or?
Yeah, I'd say so. I mean, they were very careful on the panel to mention that this is definitely meant with kids in mind and their parents. They said they showed some clips, and they were cute and they were fun. It's like Robot Chicken. I mean, if you've seen the other Lego Star Wars stuff, I think you know what to expect, which is kind of like some of it's very Robot Chicken-y, but it's not going to go that edgy. But it's still, there's still winking stuff. There's still stuff making fun of Star Wars, even when 3PO begins to recount the story. We saw that clip when he sits down with them and tells them the story. It's a pretty funny part because he starts to say, well, there was a trade on taxation routes, and everyone starts to nod off instantly, like listening to that opening spiel. There's kind of an ongoing thing of Jar Jar getting shot and apparently killed in a Lego sense, like blowing up.
So he's kind of the equivalent of Kenny in Droid Tales.
I'd almost say that's dead on because we saw him get shot into space by R2 by accident and then blown up, and then we saw the Tusken Raiders shooting during the pod race, and the shot ricochets and hits Jar Jar and he goes flying.
So it seems like slightly self-reflexive in parts, maybe.
They talked about that. I mean, they because Anthony Daniels made a surprise appearance during the panel, and he said that he was glad that they could sort of make poke some fun at Star Wars, but he felt not go too far, not tear it down. But, say, hey, we know people weren't exactly in love with the taxation aspect of Phantom Menace. And Jar Jar, not exactly anyone's favorite character. I think we can have some fun with that.
So you said some of the stuff you saw was unfinished. Have they got any timeline for when this is coming out and how we can see it?
It's pretty soon, actually. So the first one's in July, and I think they said that all 5 will be on the air by early fall. So it's going to be staggered, I think, a few weeks apart, basically through the summer, sounds like what the plan is.
Fantastic. I can't wait to see it. So for everything on Star Wars, Droid Tales, and Lego as well, stay right here on IGN.